All right, I want to play something for you guys to let you know where we're headed. I know I've made a lot of videos correlating the Trump administration to the neo Nazis in the 1930s, the late 1920s and 30s. But I don't think you fully, really understand. Now, there is a movement, and I know a lot of people know about this movement. It's van life movement or car living movement. And a lot of it, these people, they live in their vehicles and they, because of the outrageous housing prices in the housing market, they live in their vehicles. They work jobs. A lot of them work, remotely in their vans. They've really created a really beautiful movement. I'm going to be honest with you. I even thought about it, right? So I just want to play what this woman is saying, and then she's a van lifer, not a lifer because she does have a home, I think in the state of Arizona or maybe California, I don't know. And she does travel, and she lives in her van while she travels. Okay. Um, she's breaking down the new legislation that Trump and his administration created. And if you don't think this administration is cruel and doesn't is going to implement cruel and unusual punishment for the citizens of America, boy, oh boy, I don't know where you've been. Okay, so I'm gonna let her play this. I'm gonna play this. I don't want to show you her because I don't want people going to her channel and messing with her channel and stuff. But let me just say this. A lot of people, once Trump gets done doing what he wants to do, there's going to be a multitude of people homeless. Okay? Because people are losing their jobs left and right now. He is collapsing the whole market. And the MAGA Republican Party doesn't care about the citizens that they are supposed to represent from any state. And it doesn't matter. Okay? So he's collapsing different industries all over America. Travel industry, you name it, he's collapsing it. The airline industry is being collapsed. People don't want to travel to America. They don't want to travel from state to state. They don't trust what the government is doing, and they don't want to move, and they don't want to travel. So people are not doing that. Well, now he is attacking the people that do van life or people that travel in their RVs. Let's just say for the summer, they go to another state. They're in that state for, a couple of weeks or whatever. There's being laws created to go after them. Not just go after them, but also he's trying to bring back putting people in insane asylums. And if you know the history of insane asylums, instead of giving, let me just say that, instead of giving people care, he's revoking their care. So at one point before Trump got in office this last term, veterans, U.S. veterans were getting help from the government. He cut that shit off. So now they're going to go after them when they have mental breaks, and they're going to institutionalize them. So let me just play this. Let me see if I can get it to start from the jump start, from the beginning.
Testing for colon cancer.
Ah, fuck me, man.
Takes just minutes.
YouTube really wants their fucking money, don't they?
Do whatever the heck I please. Doggy.
And this 2-3 commercials back to back. What the fuck? Okay.
Hello.
Listen.
Welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. Today, I want to talk to you about a new executive order that was signed into effect last week. I believe it's going to have an absolute...
Let me just say this. A lot of these different executive orders and things like that are being implemented they're doing these things. Congress is doing them in the dead of night. So if it's not nefarious, why do you have to wait till the dead of night to try to do these and try to pull these stunts? But let me continue.
Devastating impact on people living in vans or other vehicles. But there's also a component to this new executive order that, to me, has potentially sinister overtones and could, in my opinion, at some point deprive some van dwellers and vehicle dwellers of their very freedom. Come on and join me, and I'll tell you all about my concerns. For those of you who are not aware, a new executive order was signed by the president dealing with homelessness on July 24th of this year. I was actually able to read a copy of the executive order, and the title of it, from what I could determine, is Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets. Based on what I read, it appears the focus of the executive order is to outlaw and disband any homeless encampments throughout the country, particularly in urban areas. But the thing that's disturbing to me is how it's set forth to do this in the executive order. For the last decade or more, the philosophy in this country in dealing with those that are homeless has been housing first initiatives. In other words, the thinking was, if you have people who are living
past
on the
tense.
streets, your first priority was to get them housed, to get them off the streets and into safe and secure housing with a roof over their heads. Then, if they had other issues that needed to be dealt with, such as substance abuse or mental health issues, you started working on those only after you had them housed. Well, from what I can gather and what it states in the new executive order, that's no longer going to be the case. Now, the focus is going to be on mental health and substance abuse and treatment for that. And based on the executive order wording, it appears that the assumption is that everyone, or the majority rather, I should say, of people on the streets either have substance abuse issues or mental health issues. One of the ways they're planning to disband homeless encampments is not just to go after people who are living in tents or who are living under overpasses or things like that. Based on the wording of this executive order, they're also going to be going after people who are parking overnight while they sleep in their vehicles.
Okay, so let me just say this. Big J said this in a last live stream, or maybe a live stream a couple of nights ago. He said that it's not stopping at immigrants. It's going to continue up the chain or down the chain, however you want to say it, until it gets to you. That is what this Trump administration, I don't even want to call it an administration, because there's nothing good that's going to come out of this. Okay, so yeah, it's coming after everybody. And if you think you're safe, just know this: you might have a job now, but the way that the industries all over America are collapsing, and the way that different countries don't even want to deal with America, and I'm talking about trades wise, Trump has done exactly what neo-Nazi white people in America want him to do, and that is to completely bankrupt and collapse the whole country. So just know that if this executive order goes into play, even though you may not be homeless now, or you may not have issues now, you will be the next one hit, because it's getting to the point where your whole economic structure personally is going to be disrupted and or collapsed. There are so many companies in the United States right now that are bailing out, and I knew something was up when the very day or the night before Trump got elected. So that lets you know that there is insider information, and these corporations were selling stocks left and right before the election, and they knew that Trump was going into power. They sold their companies, they sold their stocks, and they got the fucking hell out of Dodge. So I knew something was up when that was happening. But just know, everybody is going to be affected. And even these white supremacists think that they're not going to be touched because they think that they have bunkers and they think that they have enough ammunition stored up and enough food stored up. No, everybody's going to get hit. Let me continue because I'm going on a tangent now.
And that's van life, folks, and nomads. In the executive order, it laid out about how it would be determining what cities might be receiving grants to help with homelessness within their boundaries or their borders. Now, we know that a lot of cities have had...
Just know, Trump has already said he is not going to do business with states that didn't support him. So, know that he wants to hit all these cities. Know that his administration wants to hit these cities in America. They're already doing it. They're already collapsing corporate businesses in those cities. So just know that's what he wants to do.
Financial problems. So they're going to be looking to get money from the federal government. In order to be eligible for discretionary grants to help with fighting homelessness, states and municipalities are going to be graded on certain criteria and how they do that to the maximum extent of the law according to the executive order. One of the criteria was enforce prohibitions on urban camping and loitering. For purposes of defining a homeless person who was camping in a city area, it used to have to be someone who was either living in a tent, had pitched a tent and was staying in there, or had built some kind of shelter using tarps or something like that. But no more. Now people who are sleeping overnight in their vehicles, boondocking, are considered camping.
She takes the time to understand his unique personality. What was once a stressful experience has turned into moments of calm.
Who are sleeping overnight in their vehicles, boondocking, are considered camping. Over the last several years, I've seen more and more signs like this that restrict parking, and you can't park there between, say, 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., times when people usually sleep. And then they started having more that would say no oversized vehicles parked during a certain time frame. But in the last couple of weeks, I've started to see signs like this that actually say no camping or sleeping in vehicles. So now what they're saying, if you sleep in your vehicle, you are considered camping. Did you notice what else it said on that last sign? It said, police enforce, violators will be prosecuted. Well, the only way you can be prosecuted is if you've committed a crime. So now sleeping in your car...
So I just want to say this. So I know that a lot of law enforcement all across the country had supported Trump and thought that they were going to get on this Project 2025. But now they're realizing that what Trump is really trying to do is create his own personal army with the ICE agents, right? So now you have cops all over the, department cops all over the country going up against or saying stuff to Trump about them poaching captains and things like that of the different law enforcement agencies. So what he's really, really trying to do is get the people that he feels are loyal to him in his own army and collapse all of the fucking police departments over the whole United States. That's what's about to happen too. And the only police structure that is going to be here is a neo-Nazi ICE regime. So I hope the cops are waking up. Some of them are, but I don't know how many. Let's continue.
Are quote unquote camping in your car on a city street, on a public street, in many areas, and I would venture to say in all areas eventually, is going to be against the law, and you will be considered a criminal. Based on this tough approach, I can also see fines that...
Hold up 1 second. So I want to backtrack on that. So he's already put it in that order that if you're homeless, they already consider you to be a criminal. So they're making up laws to make it look like you're the actual criminal for just being a what's the word I'm looking for? Nomad. For being a nomad is going to be considered being criminal. Okay? It's never been criminal in all of ancient history. Nomadic people have always existed. Okay? But this regime, this administration wants to make it criminal. And what do we know that they're doing or calling things criminal? If you cross the border, they say that's criminal. It doesn't matter whether you didn't commit any crime in the United States, aside from maybe a traffic violation or whatever, they consider that criminal. So now they're going to criminalize nomads. Okay? And we already know that there are detention centers that they want to build all across the country. All across the country. And if you think that it's only about now immigrants and or so-called quote unquote illegal immigrants, you would be mistaken, because now they're going after the homeless. Now they're going after nomads, and it's just going to go from there. Trust me. Let's continue. So she's talking about fines, but the fines is the least of your worries.
$60 going up to a couple $100, because cities are going to start seeing this as a cash cow. I can also see where this is going to lead to vehicles being towed and it costing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get your vehicle back, especially if it's towed
If
on
you
a
can
Friday,
get it back.
You can't get it back till a Monday. And oftentimes in places, they double the storage fees on weekends.
So I just want to say that in San Francisco, there were some nomadic people that lived on boats. And these people are poor, of course, right? But they confiscated these people's boats, a lot of them, and they burnt them. And we've already seen what has happened to a lot of the nomads, or not even nomads, but the homeless with their tents and the things that they pop up. Every week they get destroyed, they get knocked down. But just know that she's talking about things that possibly you're going to get your van back or your car back. But it's looking like they're going to do that probably after confiscating your car and your vehicle that you live in and then destroying it. I mean, we are living in a very sinister type of world right now. I'm sorry. And I don't know how to wake people up. I don't understand why people don't see what the fuck is going on, but let me continue.
San Francisco has already started putting a 2-hour limit on how long certain vehicles, particularly RVs or vehicles that look like RVs, can.
So just know this. These Trump Republican MAGAs, right, always wanted, before they got complete power over Congress and the Senate, wanted a bipartisanship. They always wanted bipartisanship with the Democrats. However, do you see any kind of bipartisanship playing out amongst these Republicans with these Democrats now? At all. Zero. And one thing I have a problem with the Democratic Party with is they always want to do the kumbaya thing, okay? But now I'm telling you, if you see, you see that they don't care about your bipartisanship. The Republicans, MAGAs, the MAGA Republicans, the ones that are supporting Trump. So if you get back in power, and let's hope you do, and can clean all this mess that's happening up. If not, we're in trouble. I mean, major trouble. Stop doing the kumbaya thing. You can't. Because these MAGA Republicans don't care about your input, whether you want to help your constituents and make sure that they're provided for and make sure that they're not violated. These MAGA Republicans don't care about its citizenship or yours as a Democratic representative. So let her continue.
And park in the city, and I see that spreading to other cities also. But you know what? As bad as all that is, and how much more difficult it is going to make it for people sleeping in vehicles to find somewhere safe to park overnight that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, that's not the worst part, in my opinion, of this new executive order. The worst part is downright scary.
No, sinister.
This part of the executive order is outlined partially in Section 1, where it talks about shifting homeless individuals into long-term institutional settings.
Doctors hate me. I'm 62, ripped, and I teach menopausal women to melt fat in 9
institutional settings. Get that? Institutional settings. For humane treatment through appropriate use of civil commitment. What is civil?
So we already know there is no humane anything coming out of this Republican Party. When you see ICE agents snatching people up off the streets with no due process and no ability to call a lawyer, no ability to call their families to let them know where they're at or if they're even alive or any of that, right? And then we already know Alligator Alcatraz has so many issues. There were already people coming out or people that are in there telling about how cruel the treatment is. People are drinking toilet water, okay, to survive. There are people saying that they have maggots in their food. So do you really think that this executive order really at all cares about humane treatment of any citizen or non-citizen? They don't. Let's continue.
Civil commitment, you ask? Civil commitment is when the government, through the court system, can take someone and involuntarily, against their will, they don't want to go there, commit them to a mental health institution, or in this case, a drug rehab program, because that's what they're going to be focusing on.
So it won't
Mental
matter if
health
even if the
and
homeless
substance
aren't on
abuse.
drugs, they're going to be
I don't
assessed
see
saying that they
anywhere
are on drugs.
in this,
Like I said,
executive
no due
order
process.
where it talks about who is going to have the authority to do that. So if a policeman sees someone who they deem to be homeless and loitering or camping in their car even, will they be able to just say, you know what, you look to be high or you look to have mental health issues and we're going to take you in and see about getting a court order?
It won't even be cops. I'm sorry to tell you. Because the setup is to get rid of all the police departments over the United States country, get rid of them all, and then use these ICE agents. Because they're already recruiting people from these police departments to go into these ICE agencies. So there won't be any police at all.
Order to institutionalize you. I mean, do you see how particularly scary this could be? Who is going to determine? Are these people who identify someone as homeless? First of all, who decides who's homeless and who's not? And what kind of training will someone have to determine if a person...
We already know that these ICE agents have zero training, right? We already know that they don't mind trampling all over the Constitution. The reason why Trump wants to get rid of all these police departments is because the police departments do take an oath to the Constitution, just like the military does. He doesn't want that. He does not care anything about the Constitution. Matter of fact, he doesn't even know what the fucking Constitution says, nor does he care. His administration doesn't care. They don't care that the Constitution is constantly trampled over. They don't care nothing about that. So, yes, these police departments are going to be getting rid of. They're going to get rid of them. And the loyalty will be to Trump, not to the Constitution, and to their oath that they take when they become a police officer.
has serious substance abuse problems or mental health issues. I mean, who hasn't gone through a depression of some sort at some point in their life, or maybe PTSD from some traumatic event? And will that present as serious mental illness that will get you institutionalized? It doesn't say anything in the executive order as to how long it could be. Could it be days? Well, it wouldn't be days because it's highly unlikely you'd go to court and get a civil.
So I'm going to tell you how much that this narcissistic administration is, because they don't care about any of the victims of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. They don't care that Trump or even any Democratic politicians or whoever in higher places had a connection to Epstein. They don't care. They don't care about the victims. They don't care that the assault on these victims has caused women and children that become women, grown women, to commit suicide and have mental disruptions, right? Because of the violations that they have been put under. They don't care. So if you think they're going to care about homeless people that have mental problems or issues, that have suffered the same things that these victims have suffered from Epstein, you would be so wrong. I really wish people would do a research on what a narcissist, a total narcissist, would do, and a psychopath and a sociopath. Because the people that are running these administrations for Trump have all of those type of issues, mental disorders themselves. So when somebody has a mental breakdown, let's just say PTSD for a military veteran, they're going to go after them as well. Anyways, this is a long video. I hope you guys pay attention because we're in some serious trouble.